Singing Dutchman Productions. Hello and welcome to Doug's Front Porch, a podcast where I get to sit down with friends old and new and have honest conversations. Today, I welcome Taylor Leitzell, a former student, and we'll get into that story, onto the Front Porch. Welcome, Taylor.
Hi, thanks, Doug, for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is the topic that we're going to be talking about. Maybe for most people doesn't sound at the outset as something that's very exciting, but I think we're going to try and make money management as exciting as possible. How's that sound?
The exciting world of finance.
Yeah. So Taylor, I always have my guests introduce themselves a little bit to the audience. So tell us a little bit about where you were born and raised. Did you have brothers and sisters? What was your, not in depth, what was your childhood like? But tell us a little bit about the formative years of Taylor Leitzell.
Sure. So I was born and raised on the same farm in Beech Creek, Pennsylvania, my whole life. So I naturally, I grew up with cows and horses and all the fun things like that help you in a career in finance. Also, my dad was a financial planner, so I grew up around that. Went to school through Keystone Central the whole way, Liberty Curtin, then Central Mountain Middle and High School. Had a fantastic German and AP European history teacher. And then I went to Penn College for accounting and financial counseling and got all my licensing before I graduated and joined my dad's firm right out of college.
All right, I want to go back a little bit. So, You were raised in a farm, and I got the opportunity to meet your parents on multiple occasions. Your parents always struck me as this, like, your mom was the farmer and your dad was the businessman. How did that, like, as a kid growing up, like, you literally had like two sides to your family. You had your mom that was totally out there with the animals, and you talked about, you had cattle and horses, and then you had your dad that was, behind the desk working in his business. And what was that like as a kid? Did you see, like, were you like, did Taylor have two sides as well? There was farmer Taylor or rural Taylor, and then there was like business side Taylor?
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I don't know if it's like a double-sided life, but it's the best way to describe it. I would keep my Clarks, my leather shoes right next to my muck boots. So, it's in the morning, I go to work or go to school or whatever. And then the afternoon I could be herding cows and, helping with barnyard items.
Okay, so that's great. I kept my Clarks next to my mucks. That's a great line, Taylor. That's a really great line. So let me ask you this. What did you learn from your mom and the agricultural aspect, and what did you learn from your dad? If thinking back as to like even high school age, Taylor, what did you learn from each of your parents? Because they were so different people.
Yeah, they're very different from my mom. I learned a lot from each of them, but there's a lot of overlap as well. So my dad started the business, owns the business. He doesn't work for another financial firm, so he's got to run his own business. Same as my mom, she runs her own farm. What we do in a day, with my mom, I learned the importance of caring for things other than myself, along with my dad, because he cares for his clients. And I learned the necessity of work and work ethic and hard work from both of them, because dad has clients to take care of, dad has a business to run, mom has animals to take care of. They don't do real well if she doesn't feed them and is out there and with them and so on and so forth. So in two different ways from each parent, I learned about responsibility and the importance of work, and that it's not a choice. It's something that you get up and do.
Boy, that's a great line. Work is a choice. Yeah. Could you come tell my students right now a little bit about that idea?
That work is not a choice.
Holy cow. Wow. Okay, so now I'm thinking back to when I, first met you as a high school student, and you sat through 4 years of my class. At what point in your journey did you decide that financial planning and the route that your dad went is the route that you want to do?
it was probably, I'd always had it in my head and numbers always made sense. Math came naturally. Thinking through things and forward thinking and trying to plan ahead, it was something I always did. Um, whether it was something productive or anxiety, high school. Um, it was probably 10th or 11th grade year. I really decided, okay, this makes sense. I like the idea of being able to work for myself and structure my own life. Doesn't mean not working and taking off at 1 o'clock every day from the office. That's not what it means at all. But it's probably 10th, 11th grade year that I decided that was a good path to go down. And
Can I ask you a personal question? Did you ever get any pressure from your dad? Like,
I mean, of course, I think he always sort of wanted me, like hoped that I would take up the family business the same way that my mom always wanted me to be interested in animals. As far as pressure, I think he was happy whenever I decided, okay, I think I'm going to go to school for something in this, geared towards this field, something that'll help in this line of work. Um, Actual pressure, I wouldn't say there was pressure. There was he definitely didn't make it a secret that he would be happy about it.
okay, all right. We'll come back to all that because I have some philosophical questions for you too in regards to your job. But I want to talk a little bit about your job because so as we've already learned, Taylor is a financial planner and provides those types of services. And I'm someone in my mid 40s, early to mid 40s, and I think of a lot of the people that I know that are my age that have no idea about investing or saving money. And then I think about some of the people that I work with that are in their 50s and 60s and have never taken any steps to secure retirement or plan ahead. And then I have to think about what must it be like for like 20 somethings. And I'm kind of a rare case, as you know this, Taylor, because I give you have some of my business. I grew up in a household where my parents made it very clear that like saving money is important. And maybe that's the Pennsylvania Dutch background in us, and children of the Depression, World War II generation. But like it was very clear to my brother and I growing up that you save and you plan for the future. But I know that lots of people didn't necessarily have that same background, and I'm thankful that my parents kind of instilled those ideas in me. But if you're talking to somebody, and I'm sure you come into contact with people that are, I often talk to people that are like, well, I'm afraid to go talk to a financial planner because so how do you approach people that maybe are mid-career, early, or any point in their life, and they're coming to you now finally, or how do you get somebody to come to you and have those beginning conversations, and what do those even beginning conversations look like?
Sure. I mean, with financial planning, it's sure we use investments. We use mutual funds, ETFs, life insurance, annuities, whatever it may be. But the investments are a means to reach a goal. So whenever someone comes, and whether they've over prepared or under prepared, you got to start with what their goals are, and that's where the conversation starts every time. um
Well, I think one thing that's a hurdle for a lot of people is like right at the beginning of your answer there, you threw out all these terms, IRA, 401k, ETFs, and I think it's a lack of education in regards to what those things are. They're scary. I think also anytime you're quote unquote playing with your money, that scares people too. How do you get people over that fear maybe that's out there, or that knowledge gap where they're like, well, I don't even know what a 401k is, like what is that, how, because I would imagine part of your job is also you're a teacher in a certain to a certain aspect.
yes, a big part of our job is educating people, educating our clients. And that's how we get people. Some people come and go, I don't know anything about this, I don't want to know anything about this, that's why I'm sitting here with you. Other people that do want to know about it, we educate them. We walk through it. We try to correlate it to whatever their job may be. This is like this is like that, and then explain the advantages and disadvantages of each investment. and each thing. And but with always with the focus of this investment does this, but it does this to help you reach your goal, which most people, they might need a little defining at times, but they have a general idea of what their goal is for either life or for retirement, or they know what time that I want to retire at 60 or 55 or 65 or whatever. Um, and so it's a mix of education about the actual investments and the things they don't understand, and explaining how they reach the goal that they do probably have a better understanding of. So it's a correlation of those things um, that helps them get over the fear. And then there are some people that go, I don't know. That's why you get paid. um, but our primary goal is education.
Do you tend to have more customers that are like, here's my money, do with, do you work your magic, or do you tend to have more customers that are like, they want to be involved in the process? I'm just curious about that.
Pretty even mix, I would say. There are definitely, I mean, quite a good number of people that come to us. They know what their 401k is. They know, the investment lineups and so on and so forth. But a lot of people that come to us for retirement planning go, this is what I make now. This is what my social security is going to be. This, if I have a pension, this is what it'll be. And I want to know what I'm able to live off of in retirement, and how we get there.
All right, let's take a minute and educate some people out there. I'm going to throw some terms at you, and you give us the elementary school definition that anybody could understand. Are you ready?
I will do my greatest.
Okay. What's a 401k?
It is it's an investment vehicle. It's an account that wherever you work, your job provides for you, and you put some of your money out of every paycheck in. They'll usually match a percentage of it. They'll put some money in towards you. And you use that account to save money for your retirement. The idea is to not touch it.
Don't touch it until retirement. Okay.
Right.
What is an IRA?
Stands for individual retirement account. Basically, if you maybe don't have a job that gives you a 401k, or you did and you got a new job and the new one doesn't, you can put money into an IRA. It's a similar thing. You wait to use it until retirement, and you get some tax breaks now for putting money into it.
Why is life insurance a good investment, and what exactly is it?
Life insurance is a promise by the company to pay your beneficiary if something happens to you. And the general philosophy with life insurance, be overinsured when you're young, and as you get older and accumulate money and things, either your insurance has built value and pays for itself, or you don't need it anymore. So basically, insurance is protection against dying before you have assets to take care of your family.
What do you say to a younger person, let's say under 50, that comes to you and you're trying to have these conversations about what you see? What are your goals? What's your future goals, etc.? And they say, look, man, I'm just trying to survive right now, trying to make my bills, trying to provide the best life I can for my kids. Why should I be thinking about 30 years from now? I might not even live that long. What do you say to those types of people?
See, our business is pretty focused on retirement planning, so it's pretty rare that I have somebody come in that sort of just says, I don't have anything and I need budgetary help. But in that case, you still go back to, what are your goals? You said about trying to provide for my kids, trying to take care of my kids. Does that mean, are you trying to take care of them on a day-to-day basis, or do you want to put a nest egg away for them for college to be able to help them with their education? In that case, there's things we can do to help with that. But if somebody came with something like that, we would sit down and go over, this is your budget, these are your bills, these are your timeline. If you have a mortgage, this is your timeline for your mortgage. And look at, is retirement, what would retirement look like? What would accomplishing the goals for your kids look like? What can you afford? What do you want to do? So you tear it down to goals, and then build from there. And if their goals are different, their goals aren't retirement oriented, then we focus on something else. We focus on maybe reorganizing their budget so they can save some, whether it's for themselves or for their kids.
When you were going to school at college and getting your degree, of course you were learning all the extra math and how the markets work and all that stuff. But were there classes that taught you, and this is kind of a weird question, but I've been thinking about it, how to deal with people? Oftentimes here's a total stereotype thing, but you're a numbers guy. Most numbers guys and girls are very focused. Maybe they aren't necessarily the most outward extroverted people. They're focused on their numbers or math is, they like math. But you have a job that of course you have to have strength in math skills, but a huge part of your job also is your bedside manner. If we think about it from like a doctor's perspective, how you are interacting with your customers. Did you take classes on anything like that in college? Does that degree offer you the opportunity to like hone those skills too?
Yes, we didn't take, so our business, when I describe it, I kind of describe it like I did at the beginning of this. We use all these investment vehicles, but it's a relationship based and a goal oriented business. You could be a great analyst, understand all the numbers. If you can't talk and interact with people, might not be the business for you. So as far as classes in college goes, marketing classes, sales classes were definitely integral into the degree. There were several marketing classes. There were several sales classes.
So in those sales classes, were you doing did they have you doing like role play situations with
Yes.
fake? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. There were situations where we would have either mock scenarios with clients or simulations with clients. People will come in and have scenarios, or they're even, I know this is a plug for Penn College, and I think they still do it. That was very helpful. It's called VITA, Volunteer Income Tax Association. So that's people actually, you get a group of students who use scanners and IRS software to do people's tax returns on a volunteer basis. So you get experience with people coming in. Here are my tax documents. I want to know this. I want to know that. So that was another, as far as training and class work goes. That was part of a class that we did, and it put you in front of actual outside of school, not a simulation, clients. But we definitely did a good amount of that stuff in marketing and sales classes.
When you first started doing those like mock situations, how comfortable were you walking into those, or were you nervous or?
I was nervous, yes, because not so much nervous in the sense of, oh my gosh, people, like, just that didn't freak me out. Um, but the idea of wanting to do a good job and wanting to know what I'm talking about and doing things correctly, the more experience you get with anything, the more comfortable you get. So I was definitely nervous in that sense. But the experience was very, very helpful.
Sure. And I would imagine now, I mean, the problem is like I interact with you because I've known you for so long, but I get the sense from knowing you like I do that if I was somebody coming in off the street to you and saying, I'd like to talk to you about my future, that you have the people skills necessary to build a relationship. And a lot of people don't have those skills. And a plug for you is that you also then can back all that up with here's the let's talk the math too. You can do both. So I just wanted to pat you on the back, because all too often I think I go back to that stereotype of the numbers guy that can't communicate. And like I would imagine the majority of your job is more communicating than it is actual numbers. But I don't know. I mean, that's just my take on it.
It's first of all, thank you. I appreciate that. But the job is very much a blend. You have to be able to shift and shift from
What do you
thing to
mean by
thing.
that? What?
So you walk into an appointment with somebody and you don't always know what you're going to get. So you have to be able to shift back and forth. You can have your reports prepared, your agenda for the meeting ready, all the numbers ready to talk numbers, and what you're talking about with the client. but someone comes in and goes, I had to put my wife in a home, or I had to put, or my husband got this, or this family. So you have to be ready at any time to shift away from, okay, your wife went in a home, the numbers say you can pay this, and so on and so forth. You have to be able to shift back to the relational, emotional aspect of that and talk through that with people while intermingling.
On top
Yeah,
of all that, talking about money is a very difficult topic for a lot of people to talk about. Like, how do you
right.
get people to be willing to open up and even have those conversations from the start?
I mean,
Just building a relationship? I mean that's how you do it.
you start with building a relationship. You start with just asking some personal questions about, what's your story, what's your life, what do you, where do you work, what's your family like, so on and so forth. A strength with our business, the business I walked into, is how the name is well known, very introduction based business. So a lot of times people come to us and they say, so and so said, hey, you guys are good to come talk to. So a lot of times people walk into us, they don't walk in and go, is this a bakery? I don't. But they walk into it with the idea of, so and so said, come talk to you, and they know they're going to be talking about their money. But you do sometimes, whenever someone shows hesitancy in talking about their money or about their finances, or if they think that, it gets, sometimes people come and go, I want you to do this with my IRA. But as you try to build the overall picture, you have to ask about, okay, well, what does your income look like, or what does your spouse's income look like, or what does your savings look like? And sometimes you get people that go, well, why do you need to know that? Um, and then how you talk through that is, when you, as they get comfortable with you, the trust builds. But two, you explain how the more information we have, the better job you can do for them to accomplish their goal. That, if that makes sense, that's generally how we get people out of that apprehension zone, is explain how the better informed we are, the better we can do for you, and the better we can assist you.
All right, a couple big topic questions for you in regards to all this. Here's one I thought of. You've had so many conversations with customers over the years. What is one thing that many of your customers will say that they wish they had done differently when it comes to this aspect of their lives?
um I mean, I think it's kind of it's probably the most common one. You get somebody who walks in and they're 60 years old. I get a lot of times someone says, well, I didn't start until I was 35 or 40 because that's when I got a job that offered these kind of benefits. I wish I would, and they say, I wish I would have done something when I was started something right out of school. Whether they graduated high school and started working, which we have a lot of blue collar clients that's their story. Or out of college, they say, hey, I just wish I would have put something, 25, 50, $100 a month into something as soon as I started earning money, and not wait for a job with those benefits.
That follows perfectly into this other question I had. So, what do
Okay.
you tell people? What is the right time to start having these types of conversations that we're having?
Honestly, it's never too soon. I mean, even I have I help with our youth group at my church too, and I'll have conversations with those kids as they're graduating high school, and they're looking towards college, and they want to know the numbers of college, whether they have to take out student loans, and what's my repayment going to look like, what kind of job do I need to be shooting for, and income should I be hoping for. um, and I have kids that in are in college, that they work a summer job, and they're like, and I say kids, they're not that much younger than me, but uh, they they'll start it at 18. They'll start at 18, 19 years old. They'll work a summer job and go, okay, I'm putting 10 or 20% of it into something. Um, so bottom line, it's never really too early. If you're in sixth or seventh grade, you probably don't need to worry about it yet. But um, as you start making money and as you start owning your own things, it that's a good time to start.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm a teacher, and I always get told by the community and by the public, this is what we should be teaching in schools, and we're not teaching this stuff. From your perspective and looking back on it now, w- do, financial um, literacy, let's call it that. Do you think that we are doing well at that at the high school level, or what could we be doing differently in your mind now that you're in the business and you've gone through the system that maybe we should be doing?
I think just going off of my school experience and high school experience, when people think of money classes in high school, there'll be an investing class teaches you about stocks. Um, or you'll take an accounting class that, you know, teaches you credits and debits and so on and so forth. Those things are very important. What I think goes hand in hand, and I know at Central Mountain anyway, I had personal finance classes that just even the basics of this is what a budget should look like. And you should allocate this to this. And, people think, oh, you get out of school and you get a job paying you $70,000 a year or whatever. What amount of money do you actually end up with per month out of that $70,000 a year job? What amount of money do you actually end up with after taxes, after bills, after so on and so forth to structure your life around? And then you don't structure then your disposable income. Don't run your bills right up to the limit of your disposable income. Live below your means.
I agree with you on all those things, but working with teenagers right now, I think the problem, I
Yeah.
think, and I mean, this is true. I think the problem is I mean, even when I was 16 or 17, I wasn't necessarily, thinking and wanted to think about those types of things. So you have a kid sitting in those classes, and those teachers might be doing all the things you're saying, but I mean, it's not making any lasting impact for that 16 or 17-year-old. What I'd love to see is like adult refresher classes or something like that
Right.
offered in the community.
Yeah. No, I think as far as high school goes, like, the personal finance and budgeting stuff, that like, that stuff's huge. And you got to appeal it to the kids. Okay, you're generally interested in this kind of career. What realistic job can you expect? What realistic money can you make? And what does your life realistically look like? Um, and then get them thinking along that train of thought while giving them the basic skills of understanding a checkbook, understanding savings, understanding deductions out of a paycheck. And as far as the community goes, I yeah, I get clients that come in and they go, I have no idea what my budget is. I buy what I need and that's what it is. Um, so I think as far as personal finance goes, I would love to see more of that Pennsylvania Dutch mentality that you talked about. Um, the importance of saving and okay, if I have $1,000 at the end of the month, that doesn't mean I, buy a car and have rent and stuff like that equals 950 or 1,000. Try to live below your means as much as possible.
That's difficult in this society right now.
And it's not what
It's tough.
society and it's not what society teaches. Society teaches you get, you get a job at this level, then that means you buy this kind of house and this kind of car and so on and so forth.
Yeah. All right. One last shop question, then we'll move on to a totally different topic. What is one thing that you want all people to know about financial planning?
It's never too early to start. Don't, even if you're working a summer job, even if you get a job without retirement benefits, do something. Yeah, do something towards it. 100 putting away 50 or $100 a month now, you're going to be way far ahead of someone that waits until they get a job when they're 40 with those benefits or whatever. Um, and even if you're in your 40s or 50s, start the relationship. Get her timeline going because then it's something to look forward to.
I'm looking forward to my retirement. I know that.
Absolutely. It is
Everybody
something to look
should. Yeah,
forward to.
that's right. All right, Taylor. Well, this has been, for me, it's been fascinating, and I know and I come into this conversation with a little bit more uh, knowledge base maybe than some people have in regards to this, only because of people that I've known in my life. And I just hope that anybody out there listening to this episode who has never had that kind of influence in their life, maybe their parents weren't, didn't push financial literacy and things like that. That I agree with you 100%. They're tough, difficult conversations to have, but they're so important. And if you can find the right person to have those conversations with, they become an easy conversation to have.
Right. They are huge. They're hugely important, and whether it's with someone like me or technology keeps progressing every day. There are so many resources that your time's better spent than on Instagram or TikTok or whatever it might be. There's so many self-education things out there that I would say are helpful.
Yeah, there really are. There really are. All right, Taylor, we close every conversation with 10 quick questions that have nothing to do with anything that we've talked about. This is kind of to
Okay.
get to know you a little better. So here we go. Number one, what is your morning drink of choice?
I have a decaf coffee first, and then I have probably usually when I get to the office or right before I leave the house, I'll have a regular cup of coffee.
Well,
Nothing added to it.
can I ask, why do you start with decaf?
It's honestly, it's because I was reading a study about how if you right when you wake up, if you put caffeine into your system, it it interrupts your actual process of waking up, and it actually makes waking up harder in the long run. So I wait to put caffeine into my system.
Well, I appreciate that study, but I'm going to
It might
continue
be
to
completely wrong.
if I
It might be completely wrong.
you never know.
But
Hey, whatever works, man. Whatever works, right? Okay. Number two, who is a go-to musical artist or group for you?
oh boy. Um ugh. I don't know if I should admit this, but I do listen to Taylor Swift. Um
Nothing wrong with that.
that's a go-to. I like Kenny Chesney too.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, Number three, what movie can you watch over and over again and it never gets old?
Top Gun Maverick.
Oh,
The
the
new
new
top
one. Okay.
the new Top Gun and the original one. Either of
Okay.
those two.
So, in your opinion, which one's better?
I'm a traditionalist. I like the original one. The new one's fantastic, and some more action and a little faster pace. But the new one wouldn't be anything without the original one.
Okay. Fair enough. Number four, what's the last thing that you read?
Like completely read through, or I'm currently reading.
No, either or.
I'm currently reading The 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson.
Okay. How much of your job is reading?
As far as like reading, I mean, I get daily articles and market updates and so on and so forth. I wake up and part of my morning routine is reading some headlines, making sure I'm brushed up on whatever's going on today, so I'm educated about
Yeah, that's the other thing I think a lot
what's
of people don't
happening.
realize how important like that knowledge base is. If you're talking about investing money and kind of knowing, okay, this is happening in the world right now, so that could mean X, which maybe we want to put some money in this over here or over there. It's not just numbers. You also have to kind of have your finger on the pulse of the economy
Yes,
too. That
yes,
has to
you
be
do.
difficult in this, especially in this day and age. I mean, right in this day and age, you have access to so much more information than what your dad would have had 30 years ago, as far as real time. But also because of all that, I would imagine the markets are just constantly like swinging.
Financial and market news and media, some of them are as bad as any media. They want a headline, they go, this has never happened before, and it has. So there's a certain, I keep a list of sources that tend to stay away from that and tend to stick to actual factual information.
Okay, so for somebody out there that's interested in that kind of stuff, can you give one plug for a site that you say this is a reliable source for someone to get information from?
um I like Market Watch, I like Barron's, Seeking Alpha. Those would be three pretty, they don't blow things out of proportion for the sake of a headline.
Okay. That's important to know.
Yeah, those would be three. And as far as brushing up on knowledge, it's not fun to be caught off guard by a client that, if they read something that morning that you missed and it's important. That's not a position you want to be in.
Sure. Okay. All right.
So.
What's your favorite pizza topping?
Chicken bacon ranch pizza.
Those are good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So I guess chicken bacon and ranch.
There we go. Laying on the beach or going for a hike?
Oh boy. If I have an umbrella or like SPF 120 sunscreen, I'd probably lay on the beach, but I have red hair and very fair skin, so it has to be specific circumstance.
Okay. Sounds good.
Probably beach.
Okay. You have invited me over for dinner. What are you making?
We are going out to dinner. Somewhere fantastic.
Somewhere. I love it. I love that menu. Somewhere.
If I've invited you for dinner, that's what probably.
Don't you cook at all, Taylor?
I can.
Okay.
I can cook mac and cheese.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Oh, that's a good question. Number 8. What is a dream vacation destination for you?
Ooh. What's that? Bora Bora.
Yeah.
Bora
You're
Bora.
You're gonna need your sunscreen for that, buddy.
Right. and that whole, the South, that whole Southern Pacific chain.
That intrigues you. I mean, you'd really like to see all that.
Australia, New Zealand, and then all those other smaller islands through. I would love to take, just take whatever amount of time and go island hopping over there.
That would be cool. I agree. Okay. What's something you're afraid of?
Snakes.
I'm with you on that.
180%. No, it's a tube that shouldn't be able to move, and it's very angry.
That's a great answer. All right, last question. What job, other than the ones that you've had, would you love to have?
Ooh, honestly, and this is probably my upbringing, but every now and again when I see my mom's world and go, okay, you know what you're doing? You go out, you take care of your animals, you're outdoors. I think I would be very happy running a farm. I think I would have an extreme sense of fulfillment and be able to be outdoors. And I think I would be very fulfilled and content doing that.
Well, I've seen you on the farm, and I think you would be all of those things that you said.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, other than saying whatever Jeff Bezos does, like
that. Yeah, but with all that, do you really want to be Jeff Bezos? I don't know.
Not really.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, I'm hoping that my money that I've invested with you can get me to that level, but I don't want to be Jeff Bezos.
Understood.
Well, yeah. Taylor, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast. Hopefully, what you've talked about has been helpful for some people. I know that you've been very helpful in the conversations that I've had with you, in the business that I've given you. And I'm not just saying that because I'm proud of you and all those things. I am proud of you, the student, knowing you as a teenager to where you are today. You've come a long way, and you're a really great person. And also, you're really good at what you do. So, I mean, I've recommended you to a lot of people already. I don't know if they've actually taken my recommendation or not, but I throw your name out there because I believe all the things that we've talked about today, you encapsulate all that stuff, and I just wanted to let you know that publicly that I really appreciate who you are and what you do, because you do a really good job at what you do. So
thank you very much. That means a lot, and I always looked up to you and continue to look up to you through all that and what you taught me in high school and the friendship that we've continued since then. I appreciate it very much.
Hey, that's great. Thanks so much, Taylor, for coming on the show, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds great. Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Take care.
Yep. You as well.
Thank you for listening to Doug's Front Porch, a conversational podcast with your host, Doug Maidenford. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. 5 stars only, please. Follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just look for Doug's Front Porch. Also, please feel free to tell all of your friends about the show, and I'll see you all next time on my front porch.